Larry Kudlow here for Colonial Metals Group. Ask yourself, is your retirement protected? Gold is the one asset that's surged through every war and economic shock. Please call 800-621-3908. That's 800-621-3908. Or just visit freegoldguide.com/Kudlow to claim your free 2025 Gold Guide. You'll learn how to protect your IRA or 401k and could qualify for up to $7,500 in free silver. That's freegoldguide.com/Kudlow.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
The left versus the right. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hold up. Do not touch that radio dial. It's time for the left versus the right. This is David Paterson. And for the next hour, we are going to talk about the mayoral campaign. We're going to talk about when and when not you should pick up your own telephone. And we are going to talk about the movement that is making people in the city more and more interested as to who is going to be the mayor elected on November 4th of 2025. And here to talk with me today, it's the left versus the right, but today it's the left versus the rep, the Republican candidate for mayor, the man who has jumped 13 points in the polls, as he predicted he would, right here on this show a couple of months ago. And he joins us right now. Good afternoon, Curtis. How are you?
I'm happy you brought that up, Gov, because 6 weeks ago, people were telling me to drop out. You have no chance. Since I've surged in the polls and I got my matching funds, $2 million, more than Zohran Mamdani. And now people would say, oh, you're a fundraising machine. No. We got to keep the money coming in. We got to continue to get the match until I cap out at $8 million. And then I can run a campaign that, let's just say, will not be tainted as Eric Adams, who can't get matching funds. I mean, every time, no, sorry, straw donors, you got to tell us which country they're from. They won't give him. Andrew Cuomo didn't get matching funds. He didn't submit. I guess he wasn't able to figure out if he was in it to win it or what at that point. And you have Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah, that's right. When the numbers came out, Mamdani had 1.7.
Right.
He was exceeded by somebody at 1.9. Who was that?
That was Curtis Sliwa.
Oh, that was you.
That's right.
That's right.
So put it more closer to 2.
But more closer to 2.
That's right, when you add in the extra digits.
Yeah, so 2 to 1.7, and there was no Cuomo. And then,
no Adams.
No Adams, because he had
now, remember,
to get in the system.
Let's take you on a little odyssey. Originally, you, David Paterson, were the co-chairman of the re-election campaign for Eric Adams. And you expected the money to come in. Well, you had nothing to do with it, but he had some problems along the way. So then, all of a sudden, you have a cup of coffee with Jim 1% Walden. And that didn't go very well. And then you were with Team Cuomo with Wright, Chairman Wright of the Manhattan Democratic Party. He's now thrown Cuomo under the bus.
In favor of Mamdani.
That's right. And you're still the free agent. And let me just say to everybody listening out there or watching, please, both you and Donald Trump, you both know one another. Do not endorse me. Do not say nice things about me. If you want to criticize me, I'll go up in the polls. Do not, in any way, shape, or form, do what you did for Adams, Walden, Cuomo, and embrace me.
The kiss of death.
Yes, politically. From a Democrat, that would be Paterson, and from the Republican president, Donald Trump. If you notice, he didn't say anything about me. Not a word.
No, and we believe to some extent that he might have placed a call to the former governor, Andrew Cuomo, and Rich Azzopardi, who is his press secretary, and he really should be named Rich at a Party, because that's where he must be when he comes up with these ridiculous answers to questions. But he said, well, maybe, I'm not sure, I'll check. And then he came back and said no. That means yes with him.
So now, let me ask you, just as a political pro, you've been in many races, you've supported many candidates, some won, some lost. But the whole basis of Cuomo's primary campaign was, I'm the only guy who can stand up to Donald Trump because I proved it over and over when I was governor. I thought it was a good selling point because if you looked at Mamdani, if you looked at the controller, if you looked at the other Dems that were running, you realize they never really did other than complain about Trump. Now, all of a sudden, by him having a conversation with Trump, it's another great day for Zohran Mamdani and AOC because they had dual press conferences. Zohran, downtown Manhattan, AOC in Washington, saying, you see, Cuomo is a lackey. Cuomo made a backroom deal with the president, Donald Trump. You can't trust Andrew Cuomo. I think that's a major mistake.
And it's interesting, Curtis, the story kind of came out late Thursday night. They were out there Friday morning all day carrying on about him. And we will see where that goes. I will say there's one great thing that did happen this week, and I hope you'll, and I know you'll join me, and it was the incredible intervention at Fort Stewart down in Atlanta, Georgia, one of the biggest Army bases in the country, when some soldiers saw an individual who was actually a sergeant there shooting at the other soldiers, and they intervened, subdued him, and apparently the 5 soldiers that were shot are all in stable condition now. So they really avoided a massive possibility of a mass shooting and a mass murder in that camp.
You are absolutely correct on that, but I think you inserted that to avoid talking further on whether Cuomo made the call or received the call or didn't. The wrath of Cuomo might be upon you, so you wanted to do a pivot and shift. We do know how Cuomo seeks vengeance on all of his real or imagined enemies.
Well, there have been times when he has, taken that route, and it's never, in my opinion, ever worked to his advantage. Maybe with the exception of when I chose not to run for re-election, because at the time, my wife said, why are you not going to stay in there and run? You've always been a fighter.
Yeah.
I said, but this time, if I stay in there, I'm going to get indicted. And she said, for what? And I said, I haven't the slightest idea. We have to wait and see, but I don't want to wait and see. I'm out of here.
We should have talked to Randy Levine, president of the New York Yankees, very dear friend of Andrew Cuomo, was trying to set you up, claiming that, you were basically snoring tickets. Meantime, there was Ed Rendell, governor of Pennsylvania. He was there for the Phillies in the World Series. You were there for the Yankees. He didn't get hammered. He not only got free tickets as a result of being the governor of the other team in the World Series, but he was getting those steak sandwiches,
He was in a suite.
Exactly.
I was down there with the people.
Exactly, but not you. You were getting hammered, and I believe this is what happened. I believe that at that time, a real yenta was Andrew Cuomo. He would get on the phone, and he would chew the ear off of whoever the managing editor of the New York Post was, and give key details that only Andrew, Attorney General of the state, would know. And try to malign you, try to destroy you, and then all of a sudden he acted like he was your best friend. How does he transition? What I want to know is, you have a long history with Andrew. You know Andrew Cuomo probably as well as you do most politicians. How does he go from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde so easily?
Well, I remember when I was a state senator, I got elected in 1985, and he was the son of the governor. And, we'd see him at events, and whenever I would talk to him, the way he answered, it was as if he was in great pain and needed medication. It's like he couldn't bear have a decent conversation with anybody. Then, in 2002, when Carl McCall announces he's running for governor, and he's actually started his campaign, Andrew calls me up, and as God is my witness, he says to me, "Hey, David, are we going to let these old guys continue to run this place? When's our chance coming?" And I said to him, Curtis, what I consider to be the greatest quote of my career. I said, "Andrew, so you're saying there have to be 2 Cuomo governors before there can be 1 black governor?" And Andrew he was caught off guard. He had no idea what to say. He said, "But I'm just trying to say." I said, "Well, listen, Andrew, first of all, I don't think you can beat him. I think the reaction will be, kind of negative to you taking out a statewide figure who's trying to move up, as many have done in the past. And then secondly, if you win the primary, you get to take your $10-12 million and go up against George Pataki, who has $56 million. So I don't think you should do this." Then he runs in the campaign, and like a week and a half before the election, he pulls out. He pulls out of the race with Carl McCall. He has Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, DeWitt Clinton. He had everybody stand next to him to support him as he stepped aside, as if he was doing McCall a favor, like, "I could have won, but I think I won't finish the campaign." So that was the beginning of the whatever relationship that we've had. There have been times when the relationship has been very good, but I know recently I made a comment about how my first term as governor kind of ended with me being unable to run for a second term. And he called me up and he goes, "Just for the record, I kicked the case to K." I kicked the case to K. He meant that when he had put out a press release that the governor will, that the attorney general will investigate the governor, it got real negativity from everyone, and his poll numbers went down 13 points in a week. This is when he decided to take the former Chief Judge Judith Kaye, name the panel in her name. She sat there for the entire investigation and never thought, in retrospect, when she talked to me years later, that they had established not just that I had not committed these great offenses like going to the Yankee game, without a ticket, and whatever else they had tried to bring up. But the fact is that she was sitting there and the committee had her name on it, Curtis, but she was not a participant in the questioning of the different witnesses and that kind of thing. It was all members of the Attorney General's staff. So, Curtis, what actually happened is that the investigating committee was called the K Commission, but all the people that were on the commission were employees of the Attorney General's office. So I kicked the case to K. I kicked the case to K. Yeah, he kicked the case to K, all right. But the reality is that right now in this mayor's race, I don't think it helps him at all to be getting any kind of a signal from President Trump. And frankly, if there was a phone call and he talked, the first thing that anyone that worked for him should have known was to say, "No, we haven't gotten a call," which is what, didn't they say he called someone else?
Yes.
He called.
Yeah, but see, he could have ended this. Donald Trump, a New Yorker, Andrew Cuomo, a New Yorker, they grew up in the time when the king of talk radio was Bob Grant. All Donald Trump, the president, had to do, if in fact Andrew Cuomo was talking to him or calling him, was, "Andrew, ascendeme, tu siu provieno sfacin." Like your father, Mario, you are. And then introduce him to Mr. Click.
Right.
But we know that relationship between the Trump family and the Cuomo family go way back. Remember, the Trump family grew up in Jamaica estates, and the Cuomo family grew up right next door. Fred was the patriarch of the Trump family, and he was very friendly with Mario, the attorney, the Corona kid, the attorney. And apparently he assisted Mario in his initial political leanings. But then they had a falling out along the way. So I think there is a friendship there, which also existed with Chris Fredo. Oh, Chris is a real Fredo guy there. How did he get on News Nation? I mean, this guy has like 1,000 lives. He's Fredo, right out of The Godfather. But I think there is a long relationship, and even though they've had a love-hate relationship, that's the relationship I've had with Donald Trump, a love-hate relationship. Maybe that's why he doesn't talk to me and doesn't invite me to Mar-a-Lago or invite me to the White House. In fact, if you notice, the Republican congressmen, they didn't invite me for breakfast. The Democrats did. Zohran Mamdani, they gave him a nice spread. All I ask is my Republican colleague friends in the House invite me for a Waffle House breakfast. I love Waffle House. And most of you live in red states where there are plenty of Waffle Houses. I mean, that is the best. Do you know when President at the time, Joe Biden, just melted down in that debate in Fulton County and Atlanta. Remember in June before he was supposed to debate Trump sometime in September?
It was like watching the first round between Sonny Liston and Muhammad Ali.
Exactly.
Yes.
Do you realize that he went to Waffle House afterwards, a 24-hour Waffle House?
Oh.
He was revived. He showed up, remember, the next day in Greensboro, North Carolina.
And he was carrying on.
And he was all fired up. Let me tell you, you get that Waffle House in you. You're gonna be like the Energizer Bunny going for days. He should have had Waffle House before the debate. Oh, wait a second. Didn't Hunter Biden say he was on Ambien? Didn't Hunter Biden say he was on Ambien?
Yes, he did.
Why do they always come up with excuses? Didn't they say, remember Barack Obama in that debate in the Mile High City of Denver where Romney did so well and Barack seemed to be sort of out of it?
He was, he was slurred. He was
slow,
not really answering the questions, and he looked uncomfortable, like he just wanted to walk off the stage.
Like he was a punching bag for Romney. Romney was all of a sudden even Stevens in the poll, and then Superstorm Sandy, El Jefe, Chris Christie embraces Obama, and that's it for Mitt Romney.
Yes.
You see, acts of God can sometimes determine the outcome of elections.
They certainly can. Now, Curtis, my question is, now that you are a true contender, I saw a poll where Mamdani at 25, Cuomo at 24, you at 22, and the previous poll you had 11. So you made up those 11 points, and as far as I know, that poll has endured. In other words, it's a close race. Have the Republicans in New York who kind of, look the other, oh, that guy does talk radio, oh, he's funny, but we don't want him being mayor. Have they gotten the message and started to get on board?
You would think, look, when Errol Lewis, who's no Republican, comes on New York One and says, I've checked the analytics. Curtis is surging in a compilation of the last 4 polls. He just got matching funds close to $2 million. He can win this. When Brian Laird, no conservative Republican on WNYC, comes to the same conclusion independently, you would think Republicans would, hey, let's rally around this candidate. We haven't had an opportunity like this.
We're going to take a little break right here, Curtis.
Oh, wait.
By the way,
I'm on a roll.
When we come back, I'm going to reveal my conversation with the president, which was held Friday afternoon. One of us is going to endorse you on Monday. We'll be right back.
No!
The Left versus the Right on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly here for Colonial Metals Group, China's leading the largest anti-American alliance since World War II, one that's already dumped U.S. bonds, grabbed 43 million acres of our farmland, and is plotting to dethrone the dollar. That's why IRA and 401k savers are protecting their savings with gold. Go to freegoldguide.com/Kelly or call 800-655-5186 for your free gold guide on how to protect your wealth with gold 100% tax-free.
Are you ready to dairy-free your mind? This summer, melt away your dairy-free expectations with So Delicious dairy-free frozen desserts. Enjoy mind-blowing flavors like salted caramel cluster, chocolate cookies and cream, cookie dough, and more. For over 35 years, So Delicious has been cranking up the flavor with show-stopping products that are 100% dairy-free, certified vegan by Vegan Action, and are so unbelievably creamy, your taste buds will do a double take. Dairy-free your mind. Visit SoDeliciousDairyFree.com.
You set the table, put on a playlist, even made the lasagna from scratch. And now you're wearing it. OxyClean Max Force Spray tackles tough, set-in stains the first time. Adulting is hard. Fighting stains shouldn't be. OxyClean Max Force. It's not clean unless it's OxyClean.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
The left versus the right. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We're back, and Curtis was right in the middle of an incredible moment here, but we had to cut him short because when I don't hit the brakes on time, they take it out of my salary, which now I'm down to $50 a week. So, Curtis, please continue with the reaction of the Republican Party to the fact that you are now third, and not just third, but 3 points behind the leader in the polls for who is going to be our next mayor.
Surging. Remember the term surging. Okay. First off, if Zohran Mamdani has his way, you'll be earning $50 an hour. Not $50 a week.
Got it.
Stay tuned for that one. He says $30 an hour. You know, if it gets really close. You know, I've done my arithmetic on this, and I really think that a worker should be able to earn $50 an hour minimum wage in New York City. Oh, that will be a guarantee that he wins. People will vote who never voted before for that one. But, you know, I was thinking of the song. We need Cousin Brucey for this. I'm just a lonely boy. Here it is. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, a Republican, right? Talks on a regular basis to Eric Adams on his burner phones. Last time, he had 7 burner phones according to the feds? We know now that he talks to Cuomo. I believe he talks to Cuomo more than just the one time that they acknowledged in the New York Times article. But he never talks to me. And yet, I'm happy and free because if the president embraces you in New York City, your poll numbers drop precipitously. Look at Eric Adams. In the last election, 2021, as the black candidate to become the second black mayor, he had 90% of the black vote against me. That was it. It was over right there. He's now down to 16%. Every time Trump picks up the phone and says, Eric, he drops another 4% in the poll. Can you explain to everyone out there why, out of all the constituencies, black people in New York City just are not getting on that MAGA bandwagon? They're not Trump supporters.
I think in the black community, as in most other communities, there is a strong affection for a candidate that comes from your neighborhood, looks like you, may have gone to the same types of schools that you did, and this is a person that you'd be very likely to support. However, there has always been an anxiety in the black community about when this person gets someplace, is he going to remember us? And when Eric Adams was on, was it Fox?
With Tom Homan.
With Tom Homan.
Oh, my God.
And they said to Tom Homan, if the mayor doesn't come through and round up these migrants, what are you going to do? And Tom Homan said that he would have his foot up, I'll say, Eric's rear end so far that he won't even know it. And Eric sat there and just froze. He didn't do anything. And Curtis, I'm telling you, I think I know you well enough. You know we well enough. If that had been done to either of us, they would have picked up a chair and thrown it at home.
Exactly.
No matter what happened.
But remember,
that would have been a great moment for the mayor.
Of course, but to object to that, no matter who said that. But
yeah, exactly.
Who was watching, obviously, the White House and Donald Trump. It's Fox and Friends' favorite morning show. So they were probably having a good belly laugh at Eric Adams' expense. Look, Tom Homan. It was like Cool Hand Luke. Remember the sheriff in Cool Hand Luke?
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly how Tom Homan sounded. And Eric Adams didn't show even disdain on his face. Like, do you realize I'm an Euro-Asiatic black man, a proud black man? How dare you, white man from upstate New York, talk to me like I'm on your plantation? Oh, my God. He would have walked off that stage. He would have gotten 99% of the black vote. It would have been jump ball in this election. Instead, he's at 7% now.
Yeah.
Now, he may have been pardoned and released of the indictment charges, but he is a pariah in the black community. You know, it's interesting. I've campaigned heavily in the black community. Just the other Saturday, started in Crown Heights, went through Flatbush. Then I was over in East New York, Brownsville. Then I was in the Jamaica Street Festival. All of it predominantly African-American. People were saying, Curtis, you got to get that guy. I'm thinking the Zohran Mamdani. No, get that guy out of City Hall. Eric Adams. Because they were so disappointed in the guy. Without the black bloc vote that he had, he's got no chance.
Now,
he's got no chance.
Curtis, very interestingly enough, we can go back to 1989, which is 36 years ago. And at that time, David Dinkins was running for mayor.
Yeah.
And David Dinkins walked the line in that as the first African-American to ever come close to winning in a city like New York City, he got a pass. So he was the champion of blacks. He was the champion of Indians. He was the champion of Jewish people. He was everybody's champion, even sometimes when they were fighting with each other. And very rarely did anybody break rank and come after him for, not standing up for the community. Then in 1993, as an incumbent mayor, he was kind of not particularly visible during some of the incidents that occurred that year. And that drop in the black community was enough to propel Rudolph Giuliani to victory and then 8 years of service.
Yeah, but just remember, and back in that first race, even though they had a bitter primary, Ed Koch ended up supporting David Dinkins against Rudy Giuliani. And you're right. There were many Jews who believed this was good for the city. This will stop the racial tension that existed because there had been Yusef Hawkins, Howard Beach, a number of racially charged situations that pitted whites versus blacks. So a lot of people were saying this will be good for the city. Dinkins will be the healer. Koch was the divider. Because remember, at the wake of Yusef Hawkins, they wouldn't even let Koch come and pay his respects and view the body. He had pretty much worn out his welcome mat in the black community. And yet, in the general election, he supported David Dinkins. Then 4 years later, he flipped the script. Now, David Garth was running the campaign of Rudy Giuliani, his former campaign manager, Ed Koch, and not Roger Ailes, who was running Giuliani's campaign in 88. And now suddenly Ed Koch was embracing Rudy Giuliani. Now, could that have made the difference in a very close race?
That very much, I think, made the difference. And to a certain degree, and I think here's where it didn't even divide on ethnic or racial lines. Dinkins did not look particularly strong at that particular point. And that is really what I think has happened to Mayor Adams. He is a strong person, but he didn't demonstrate it at the critical. Sometimes it's almost like your whole life can come down to, 1 second. The ground ball that got past Bill Buckner went through his legs, and the Mets win the World Series. It was one moment. All he had to do was stand still, but he spread his legs. The ball went through him, and Mookie did it.
That wasn't even the World Series victory. They had to wait till the next night when then the Mets beat the Red Sox. You remember?
Oh, that's right. And
you're the Met fan.
I know.
But let me say this about David Dinkins. It was a very close election the first time, unexpectedly close. Rudy, they thought he would lose by maybe 8, 10 points. That's what the polls. And he only ended up losing by 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
I remember I campaigned with him. He was a horrible retail campaigner. You would ask Rudy Giuliani when he first ran, after being U.S. Attorney, Southern District, a simple question. He'd give you a 20-minute answer. Roger Ailes had not reined him in, hadn't disciplined him. By the time David Garth got him the second time, I'll never forget sitting there in Morris Park in a pizzeria. We had just played stickball. Herman Badillo, who had converted from being the Democrat to the Republican, running as controller. There's Rudy. David Garth sitting next to him. Rudy's putting a slice of pizza in his mouth. He took the piece right out of his mouth. You look 10 pounds too heavy on TV. Rudy, from now on, no pizza, Diet Coke, not this regular Coke. And where's Donna? Donna needs to be with you. Donna Hanover, his wife, who is like the anchor woman at WPIX Channel 11. Rudy, people don't like you because you were a prosecutor. People love Donna Hanover. You better be attached to her. He's screaming at him in front of this crowded pizzeria. I'm sitting there, David Paterson, I'm saying, oh, Rudy's going to get upset. He's going to fire David Garth. No, he actually listened to David Garth. And then the rest of the way, he had Donna Hanover, who helped soften his image. Because his image as a prosecutor, was, I'm going to lock you up, throw away the key. Guys like that, but women didn't. And by having Donna Hanover, his wife, there with him, and the kids from time to time.
And she was very appealing, well-spoken, never said, the best thing about people, they say they always said the right thing, but no one ever knows what they said. In other words, no one remembers it. You have to say something wrong for people to remember what you said.
So I'm thinking, what would have been the edge? They say, well, Staten Island, the secession vote, Guy Molinari got more whites to come out and vote in Staten Island.
And David Dinkins never forgot that the governor, Mario Cuomo, signed the legislation to let Staten Island have a plebiscite on whether they should stay as part of New York City. David Dinkins never forgot that.
You see, David didn't understand that was Staten Italy. And that bond with Italians was stronger than it was between Cuomo and Dinkins. The other thing in Southeast Queens, black middle-class homeowners came out in unprecedented numbers the first election against Giuliani, but they didn't come out. It's almost like the Harris voters in this last campaign with Trump in New York City, 500,000 stayed home. They didn't come out and vote for Trump. They just stayed home. A number of them stayed home. They didn't vote for Giuliani. But I'm thinking the combination of having Ed Koch out there, who had previously supported David Dinkins, and having Donna Hanover, it was like Bounty fabric softener on Rudy.
Yes.
Gave just enough of a little push for Rudy. Then in a very close election, I'm sitting there in the Plaza Hotel in what was the meeting ground for Team Giuliani. There was David Garth. There was Ed Koch. Ed Koch gets the telephone call from the precincts. Rudy, you won. Everybody's dancing the tarantella. Of course, they were mostly Italian. Meantime, the Dinkins people are a few blocks away. It wasn't the Sheraton. It was another hotel ballroom. They're being told, Dinkins has come back. He's won. And it turned out that Rudy won in a very close election. And then I'm sitting there watching history. Koch grabs Rudy. Stop celebrating. Get on the phone now with David. Invite him for brunch tomorrow. Make the peace. Nobody was thinking about that. Rudy did exactly that. And remember, the next day, they were having brunch at Gracie Mansion.
Curtis, that situation helped Rudy so much more than he'll ever know, because Koch really could read the room and read people beautifully. I don't know what happened to him in 1989. He got a little carried away with being the enforcer or something. But I got in some trouble right before the election because I made a statement that Fred Dicker printed in the Post that David Dinkins would lose the election because he didn't campaign in the black communities as much in 93 as he did in 89, which, by the way, was an accurate statement.
Yes, it was.
But I wasn't supposed to say it. And at the time when you were working with Lisa, the two of you raked me over the coals about making that statement.
Well,
but it was accurate.
Actually, it was Lisa. She was the Dinkins supporter. I was feeling good because I was the Rudy supporter. Go, David, go.
Yes.
Go, David, go. Go, David,
but
go.
you both finally agreed
Yes.
that Dinkins... See, this goes back to the beginning of this show. Black people don't want to be taken for granted any more than any other people.
And rightfully so.
And I know that I had an argument with the late Bill Lynch about this during the campaign. And Bill Lynch said to me, he had that gruff voice, well, where are they going to go? I said they might stay home. And that was what they did. They didn't vote for Giuliani. They just stayed home.
Exactly. Now,
and the black turnout was down 9%. And that was
the difference.
The difference, too.
So it wasn't just the additional turnout on Staten Island of white voters because of secession. The other interesting fact, I'm sitting in Yankee Stadium. We're behind home plate. You have Rudy Giuliani, lifelong Yankee fan.
Did he pay for that ticket that night?
No, of course he didn't. Neither did I. Sitting next to him was the mayor maker, Guy Molinari. As remember, he ended up guiding Rudy, tutoring him. And then Bloomberg, who is the worst campaigner I ever met.
Yes.
If not for 9/11, Mark Green would have shellacked him. But he was the mayor maker. He's sitting there with Rudy. They're talking about who might become his police commissioner. And one thing about Guy Molinari, he had been a Marine. He loved all Marines. He loved Dinkins, even though he may have led that secession movement that caused Dinkins to be ousted out of office. He loved Ray Kelly, who had been a Marine. He's saying to Rudy, you really should keep Ray Kelly on, because remember, the last 2 years, Ray Kelly was the police commissioner for Dinkins.
Exactly. Now, hold it right there. A cliffhanger. We're going to find what happened when Giuliani gets into office, right after we pause for a break for our commercial sponsors who are standing here threatening me that if we don't get off the air for a couple of minutes, it's now their time. Take it away. We'll be right back.
The Left versus the Right on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
As a sports fan, I have to confess. Sometimes the game gets kind of boring. That's when I unfold my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 and use multi-window viewing on its large screen. Boring game? I'm checking out my fantasy baseball league at the same time. Score still 1-0? I'm replying to emails in the other window, scoring points with the boss. Semifinals finally getting exciting? I'm buying tickets to the finals and booking my flights. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
Stuck in a lo-fi loop again? Hit shuffle and refresh the everyday with Mentos Gum. Pop a piece and turn that sleepy soundscape into a dance floor. Freshen up your moves with spearmint. Find freedom with fresh mint. Get juicy with red fruit lime and tropical. Or choose a different way to refresh the everyday with your favorite. Mentos Gum. Yes to fresh.
The Left versus the right. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We're back on the left versus the right. Today it's the left versus the rep, who is the Republican candidate for mayor, Curtis Sliwa. During the break, I did receive a call from President Trump. I can't tell you what it was about, Curtis, but you'll know soon enough.
So will you be downstairs at WABC, have a huge press conference where the president is beamed in on Zoom, and both of you will be endorsing me together? Spare yourself. Please, don't endorse me. Paterson, President Trump, don't endorse me. I'm doing fine without your endorsement.
I'm afraid that you're absolutely right.
By the way, in the break, you didn't hear this, ladies and gentlemen. We were discussing that number 18. How important it is in the Jewish religion and Jewish tradition. 18 times 2 is 36. 36 times 2 is 72. 72 times 2 is 144. Now that I've made the match, $2 million in the campaign, I've looked at some of the contributions. You can tell almost right away it's a Jewish donor without seeing the name, because it's in 18, 36, 72, 144, those denominations. High. Yes.
Did you get any checks for $288, which is the next?
You know something? There was some checks, like every campaign, you look at the name of the person and you say, this one we return. This is not the kind of person that we want associating with the campaign. Every campaign has to do that, because sometimes you end up processing checks. You're not even looking at who the person is, or you don't recognize them. And that's the one person that they find when they do, their deep dive. The reporters, look who you took money from. The candidate had no idea.
No.
But you got to own it. And then you got to call that person and tell them, sorry, we're sending the check back to you.
And they're never happy.
No, nobody's ever happy. Nobody's ever happy.
So now as we come down the stretch, it's going to be the end of August pretty soon. So now we get into September and October, and that's when, everybody comes back from what they were doing this summer, or if they were just distracted and not paying attention. Do you have any plan for some type of activity that we haven't seen yet?
You think I'm going to reveal that to you? You've been involved with every campaign other than mine. I have no idea what the next campaign you'll be with. Snitches get stitches and end up in ditches. Right. Wow, was that slick? Governor Paterson, he fixed me a cocktail, a political cocktail, where he thought I was going to reveal the game plan.
I just thought you might have a little September surprise for your
let me tell you, remember there was the Florida primary. Rudy thought he was on his way to being coronated president of the United States after he was mayor of America after 9/11. And somebody stole his playbook in Florida on the plane. And this basically gave up everything that Rudy was going to do, because they had put it down in writing. I think it ended up with Team Romney and also McCain. They all shared it. They all piled on to Rudy, and they knocked him right out of the campaign in Florida. It reminded me of Lindsey, who had converted to being a Democrat, thought he could run for president, went down to Florida. New Yorkers said, that's why we're living in Florida. We ran away from you. He lost. Rudy thought with all the New Yorkers down in Florida, it was a slam dunk, and he crashed and burned. But part of that was that Team McCain and Team Romney had his entire playbook. They knew everything he was going to do. So guess what, Governor David Paterson? Oofa to you. You're not extricating my game plan. It's Operation Hush, Hush, Mush, Mush. Nice try, though.
Well, whatever you've been doing so far is working very well. So
I'll tell you what we have done is we've kept our head down. We're out constantly. I'm spending a lot of time on the subways, which is a great focus group. None of the other candidates do that. You run across a lot of actual voters, not people who are from Westchester, New Jersey, Connecticut, who say nice things about you, Nassau and Suffolk, but they can't vote. And then the other thing is just hitting the neighborhoods and targeting what is the issue in that neighborhood that's most pressing, which isn't necessarily what's important in the next neighborhood. So I think if you know your neighborhoods, there are 350 of them, and you pretty much figured out what's really bothering the people. Hate drives the vote, not love. Because if they love you, they don't vote. If they hate something that's going on in the campaign, that will drive them to vote.
They'll vote for you as an alternative to it.
Right, especially if you're on board with their policy. Now, all the candidates who are running are hoping that the hate for Zohran Mamdani will drive out an unprecedented vote in a mayoral election. Generally, mayoral elections of late, you're lucky if you get 25% of the vote, 1 out of 4. There's no doubt you'll get more than that this time, but will it be enough to stop the juggernaut of Zohran Mamdani, who now has all this institutional Democratic support? I think it's a real possibility. I have my pathway to victory. I don't know if Adams does. He's so far down in the polls. And Cuomo seems to have, he's slowly receding, like his hairline. And I think,
Curtis, I might resemble that remark.
Exactly. Well, look, that's why I wear the beret. And that's the other thing. What has become the most defining issue for me in this campaign? Will he take the beret off? Will he put the beret back on? And now I've been summoned to the Hamptons for the power breakfast. Yes, I follow in the footsteps of first Adams and then Cuomo, and I get to sit with John Catsimatidis and all the heavy hitters, and then I get to lay out what my proposals are. I was not extended that opportunity in the first time I ran against Eric Adams, but it just shows you they're hedging their bet, David Paterson. They're not sure who might end up winning this election. That's why almost everybody but Zohran is invited to these power breakfasts or these power lunches with all the heavy hitters in New York City.
Well, they could, refer to them as power breakfasts and power lunches. But what I think is interesting is that John Catsimatidis has an uncanny sense of the future. I don't think he's psychic, but maybe he is, and even he doesn't know it, because he always seems to get someone on his show or someone to talk to him that others can't get near. And so I thought that this breakfast that is being held this weekend is a breakfast where he is doing what others should have done, is allowing an opponent that has credibility. We're not talking about people who have 1% of the vote.
Right.
We're talking about people such as yourself and and Cuomo and Adams, that kind of thing. But the reality is that a lot can come from those types of breakfasts, because then everybody says, "Oh wow, why didn't somebody tell me that he was talking about how to lessen the unemployment numbers and how to reassess the property taxes in New York?" But that's actually why John does this, because it benefits the candidate, but it also benefits him.
Well, now, I need to know the decorum here. Should I or should I not take the beret off? Because these are the heavy hitters. I did it a few times before. It shocked the world for Catherine Wild, CEO of the New York Partnership. She was stunned favorably. I did it for the Steamfitters Union, because when I went into the union hall to talk to them, the executive director said, we have a standing rule in our union hall. We have the American flag. Everybody must take their hat or beret off.
See.
I did that. So with all these heavy hitters in the Hamptons, and you've been there before, I think I should take my beret off. I think that'll shock them. And number two, what do I order? They're going to be looking at what I order for breakfast. Tell me, what do I order? Like poached eggs? Or is that considered too blue-collar working class? Eggs over easy. I mean, what would be the signal to them by what I offer? Not like at Denny's or Waffle House. Would say to them, yeah, I understand you. I get you.
Bagels and lox.
Oh, with the schmear on it.
Yes. It can go a long way.
Exactly. Exactly. Excellent. Because David Paterson has been at a lot of these power breakfasts, brunches, lunches, dinners. And I knew I could get good guidance from you, but do me a favor, don't endorse me. Don't. and convince Donald Trump, the president, not to endorse me. Don't talk to me. Don't invite me to Mar-a-Lago. Don't invite me to Washington, D.C. I'm doing okay. Keep talking to Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams, and their poll numbers will be dropping precipitously.
Oh, this is...
Would you promise me, cross your heart and hope to die, you will not endorse me?
I will not endorse
Thank you.
Curtis Sliwa for mayor.
God, that'll be the
you can
kiss
put that
of death
out
politically.
on the wire services. I'm not going to endorse him for mayor. And at his request, because...
Don't try a sneako routine.
No, at his request, I am not going to do it. Should I have any conversation with His Honor, the president, I will suggest to him that he can help Curtis by not endorsing him as well.
Yes, thank you. And by
I
the
will
way,
get on the phone and talk to him as soon as I can.
I am speaking to Robert Holden, who leads the group Democrats for Curtis. He is the city council person, Democrat, term limited out in Middle Village. And I'm putting up a big picture in their meeting space and saying, if this Democrat, this iconic Democrat comes in here and says, count me in as a Democrat for Sliwa, kick him to the curb. No, please.
So, Curtis, with this view about people who've been wrong in their endorsements, and your view about people crossing party lines and getting killed, such as the former Mayor Lindsay and even Rudy when he went to Florida, what is your focus group? What is the group that you think will pull you ahead of the rest of the candidates?
I got to tell you, I got to be perfectly candid. I am surrounded by a lot of veterans like George Pataki. Also right here, you hear him every Saturday. The man who knows the economy better than anyone else.
Larry Kudlow. And by the way, he mentions your name a lot, particularly on his Friday show.
Yes. And he's giving me guidance along with his wife, who was creating messaging for President Ronald Reagan. Hey, it doesn't get any better than that. So I'm surrounding myself with these consiglieres. Again, you will not be a consigliere to me either, David Paterson. No way.
I was looking forward to it.
And I intend, probably by the end of the month... No, I can't reveal what I'm going to do because you're a rat. You eat the Parmesan cheese. You'll let the world know, all my adversaries. We'll just leave it at that. I'm doing well. It's the beginning of August. The real campaign, as David Paterson knows, veteran of a lot of political campaigns, really starts after Labor Day, and then it's a sprint for 2 months. So I'm in a good position right now, and I'm not dropping out. Can we clarify? If there's one thing we do on Left versus Right, quantify the fact I am not dropping out.
Did I tell you that about a month ago, I was sitting with the head of this station and this network, John Catsimatidis.
Yes.
We were having a conversation. Almost every minute after he hung up the phone, someone else called him. John, how you doing? Fine. Listen, we can't let this Mamdani go anywhere. You got to get Curtis out of the race. And John says, I'm not telling Curtis to get out of the race. Curtis can make up his own mind.
Good.
Bang.
Good.
Hangs up the phone.
Good.
Next call. Same thing. Finally, this one person called and said, you know what you need to do? You need to let him stay at ABC, but double his salary. And John said, if I double his salary, the money will go to David.
He's right. What a great line.
Oh, man, it's the best line I've heard.
Just shows you if you're patient enough in politics, things can change in a short amount of time. You're right. 6 weeks ago, the pressure was Curtis got to drop out. The president's going to offer him a job at the White House. Eric's going to make him deputy mayor of public safety. All of this was swirling around. I said, no, 1,000 times no. All it takes is you get matching funds, $2 million, you do good in 4 consecutive polls, and then everybody is saying, why were we asking you to drop out? Curtis, you actually have a chance to win in a 4-person race.
Well, you definitely do.
And remember, I have the Protect Animals line, first ever in electoral history, an independent line that we call for no-kill shelters and putting animal abusers in jail. And there are a lot of, especially women, who will vote for me on that line. And let's face it, you know David Paterson, especially in the black community. Women, 55 plus, do most of the voting. They consider it like a religious obligation. They're there to vote. The men, they talk a lot of stuff in all communities, but it's the women in most of the communities that vote. Just look at the analytics.
And then they also are pet owners.
Yes. And so they consider their pets to be family members. So many of them are one-issue voters. I spoke at a conference of rescue groups in Staten Island put together by the relentless patriot Scott Lebedo this past week.
Yes.
Had to be 500 people there. All of them interested in animal welfare issues. They were Democrats, Republicans. They were not apolitical. But when I told them about the Protect the Animals independent line, they said, you got my vote. I would never vote for a Republican, but you created an independent way for me to vote for you for something that I believe in and I love to begin with, pets. You got my vote. I'm on my way. By the way, you will not be invited to the inauguration, David Paterson.
I won't?
No, it'll be bad luck for me. And you will not be a member of my cabinet, although I will make sure that I give you free Yankee tickets to make up for what Randy Levine and Andrew Cuomo tried to do to you, run you out of the governor's mansion when the Yankees beat the Phillies in the World Series.
Yes. And I thought that it was fitting that since the Yankees did that to me, that they lost the World Series.
Oh. But anyway, David Paterson, you are a Met fan. You have no right to be talking about the Yankees. You are a tried and true Met fan. You are not a fake, phony, fraudulent Fugazi who, even when you were governor, said, well, I like the Yankees, but I'm really a Met fan. You were true to the blue and orange. Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely. And you can always tell these fake politicians, they come to the World Series. You know, maybe the World Series is in New York, and there are some former heads of the city and state who would come, who are you rooting for today? Oh, I'm just rooting for New York. But this is the Subway Series for the Mets and the Yankees. Yes, and that's what makes New York so great, our subways. Anything but admit that you actually are rooting for one team.
The best one, though, was Hillary. Hillary, who said, you know, I was a Yankee fan in Chicago. I would listen to Yankee games at night. Hillary, you couldn't do that back then. You were a Goldwater girl. You were a Cub fan, North Side. I respect that. But you weren't a Yankee fan. The Sox were your team. Like Barack Obama, when he threw out that first ball, it's still bouncing around somewhere on the mound. But I see we're being told... time to go. We're having such a good time here, David.
Well, Curtis, once again, thanks for joining us here on The Left versus the Rep. And we'll see you back here next Saturday at 3 p.m., where our guest will be President Trump, who will make an announcement at that time.
No,
thanks for joining us.
Don't endorse me. Don't.
Thanks for listening to The Left versus the Right. You can hear The Left versus the Right Saturday afternoons at 4. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?